Today, going to do something different. It's been a while since we watched a Dharma video. Yeah, so last night my friend shared with me a Dharma video, again by Venerable Thubten Chodron. I think it's pretty good. So let's watch together. So this is by Venerable Thubten Chodron. It's recorded on 2018. The title is called Attachment Endangers Us. Let's take a look.
In all actions, I will examine my mind, and the moment a disturbing attitude arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly confront and avert it. Okay, so one thing that's important with this verse is to notice the disturbing attitudes, okay? Because lots of times they come in our mind, we don't even notice them, they seem normal, and we just act them out. Okay. That is due to a lack of mindfulness and introspective awareness. There's another element here, is when it says, endangering myself and others, because another problem we have with remedying our afflictions is we don't realize they endanger ourselves and others. And so they arise in our mind, and even if we notice them, we don't discern them as afflictions. We don't discern them as harmful. We think that they're beneficial and should be cultivated instead. So, for example, when we have attachment in our mind, to someone or something, we feel happy. We feel close to that individual. Yeah, it meets a need that we have for friendship or for connection or whatever it is. And so even though it's attachment, we don't recognize it as attachment. Or even if we may say, well, I might be a little bit attached to this person, we don't think of it as anything harmful because we feel happy. And we're connecting to somebody else, and what's wrong with that? We always say. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with being happy and connecting to other people. Okay, it's the attachment to doing that that creates the problem. Okay, nothing wrong. Yeah, I mean, we're social creatures. We have friends, we connect with people, we communicate. Yeah, we feel that brings a sense of happiness. Great. But the attachment is when that person's really special to me, and I really want to be in touch with them. And I don't want to jeopardize the relationship, and I don't want to separate from them. And, it really meets some very deep need in me, and there's no other way to meet that need except through this relationship. Okay? So are you seeing the difference between just enjoying the connection, and that's it, and the attachment to the person, to the pleasant sensation, to this feeling, because there's a lot of it too of, well, I'm important to somebody. Yeah? And if I'm important to somebody, then my life is worthwhile. And then, it's good. It's a good thing that for me to be here. Yeah. So you see that the attachment's very sneaky because it meets all those deep-seated things, yeah, that we could say are normal human needs, but that we get attached to the feeling or the person or the situation that meets those. Okay, so it really takes some discernment in our own mind to notice this. And there's a practice or a poem from the Kadampa tradition called the 10 Innermost jewels of the Kadampa tradition. And I spent some time meditating on these. It was extremely valuable because it really hits at all that sneaky kind of attachment. Yeah. And so maybe after we finish this poem, if we ever do, then I'll do that, because it really emphasizes the level of renunciation we should aim for. We're not going to have it initially, but that we should aim for, And so it talks about, going off where nobody knows you and living alone. And while you're living alone, you're not thinking about everybody you left behind and missing them. You're not thinking about everybody down in town and how much they're going to admire you for going off alone and respect you, and how much they might write you letters of gratitude and give you bags of sampa or chocolate. You're not thinking about any of that. Your mind's completely, in the Dharma. Yeah. And it goes on and on and on. I won't tell you the whole poem now, but it really hits at a lot of this kind of very sneaky attachment, the attachment to I'm important to somebody, I'm needed, I'm wanted, I'm valued, I'm special. Yeah. And it could be said to be a regular human need, but also it's a regular human need of ordinary people. Yeah. I don't think bodhisattvas get into that too much. Yeah. Because bodhisattva's attention is focused on others, not on self. And bodhisattvas don't need others' admiration or thanks or whatever. Yeah. It's also very interesting to watch what it is about those relationships. In Tibetan culture, you become close to somebody else by helping each other with practical issues. In the West, that's not how you become close to people. You become close by sharing your emotions. Yeah, by sharing your inner secrets. That becomes the currency that makes people feel close to each other. Yeah, not, going and painting a house together, or, vacuuming the floor together or what. No, we get it through an emotional exchange. Yeah. And so it's quite different in different cultures, very different that way. And I think it's different in different historical times as well. For our great grandparents, they had no time to share emotions, and become close that way. They were just trying to stay alive. Yeah. And so for them, even though it was in our culture, the thing that brought people close was helping each other out in practical elements. Yeah. And it's different now. Anyway, the point here is to really look inside and see those things, and to not just see them, but to ask ourselves, well, how is that harmful? Yeah, how is being special in somebody else's eyes? How is being that person's closest friend? How is that harmful to me or to them? And this is something we really need to look at, because initially it doesn't seem harmful. In a worldly way, it's not considered harmful. In a Dharma way, that's where the disadvantage comes in, because the attachment to somebody else, the attachment to feeling special and needed, becomes something that binds us to samsara. Yeah, when they talk about the 16 attributes of the Four Truths, under true cause, of course, the foremost true cause of samsara is ignorance. But what is the example that's used in the 16 attributes? Craving. Yeah, and so it's that kind of craving that keeps us bound to samsara. It's also that kind of craving that is a setup for pain, because as soon as we're close to people or objects, any two things that are close must separate. They're either going to separate because something breaks, somebody dies, the friendship ends, you quarrel, or somebody goes off and has another best friend, or whatever it is, or you get bored. But two things that come together are going to have to separate. And when we become very attached in this way, it's a direct setup for pain, for sure. 100% promised. Unless you're the one who breaks up the relationship, in which you feel okay, but the other person feels rotten. Okay, but then you don't feel so good either, because you blame yourself. Oh, they feel sad. I'm to blame. Maybe I should go back together with them. Then they'll feel better. We want to comfort them, even though we're the one who broke up with them. Are we the person to comfort somebody who we're trying to distance ourselves from? No, we're not the right person to comfort them. Okay? So you can see, how this kind of craving and stickiness, yeah, even it doesn't feel, craving feels like so intense, but just think sticky. Yeah, the mind is sticky. Yeah. And then that just creates, whenever there's stickiness, you get stuck. Yeah. And, and then of course everything comes up, like, what do I have to do so that person is always happy? Oh, they're becoming close to somebody else. I'm not the special one. Oh, now I'm close to many other people. I don't need them so more. I feel guilty. All this kind of stuff. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it's something to really be aware of, as practitioners, as people who are really interested in liberation and awakening. Yeah. For people who that's not their aim in this life, maybe they're practicing the Dharma because they just want to be happier, or yeah, something like that, then this is not so important. But they will definitely experience pain. And, and that should make us wake up too. Okay? Not okay. I want the world to be different. Yeah. I want attachment to always be fun with no drawbacks, because attachment makes me feel so good. Yeah, really check up if attachment makes you feel good. If attachment made the Buddha feel good, he would never have left the palace. He would would have hung out with his wife and all those dancing girls and his son, you know? He would have said, oh, all the people of the kingdom love me. I feel needed. I can do so much good. Where would we be?
So at the UU, we've been talking about how you need to cultivate equanimity as the foundation of love, right, and compassion as the antidotes to anger. And then someone from the group came up for sharing the Dharma Day, and he sat next to me at lunch and he asked, I'm having trouble with equanimity because where does my wife fit into this picture? And he said, Am I? And she said, she has a special place in my heart. We've been married 40 something years. Are you telling me I should treat her like any other woman? And he was genuinely very troubled about this. So I'm quite curious what perspective you would share.
There's a difference between feeling equanimity and acting the same way. Clearly you don't treat your wife like any other woman, okay? Yeah. But so the thing is, reduce the attachment and replace it with equanimity, okay? But that doesn't mean you treat everybody the same way. Yeah, you don't treat someone who's 2 years old the same way you treat someone who's 30, unless special occasions pertain. Yeah, okay. We treat somebody we know well different than we treat a stranger. So, we still have to deal with social habits and, these kinds of things. Yeah, but the idea is that rather than favoring some people and distancing ourselves from others, feeling close, feeling distant, we develop a feeling of equanimity and closeness with everybody. But it's not the closeness, that's the sticky closeness. That's the trick. Yeah. Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so what do you guys think? Any comments? For me, I think there's one part that says, well, maybe this is more important to those renunciate, but for us, lay people, might not be so important, but still, we will experience pain when we have attachment. So it's a direct setup for pain. When I watched this, made me think of my family. When I visited them, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, around 5 of us. Yeah, 5 of them. And then I can see there's a lot of attachment between all of them. There's one observation I noticed. We were going to a restaurant, and then the kid is actually pretty big, like primary 4 or something. And then when she wants to go to the bathroom, the mom still feels the need to accompany her to the bathroom. And I asked her mom, well, can't she really go by herself? And she told me, tough, I can't let go, my heart can't take it. So I feel like there's a very deep-rooted attachments, especially in the family. So I'm kind of glad that I'm staying independent, and it makes the attachment not so intense as those who live together, especially in the family. So that's one. But of course, and ideally, if one of us to ordain someday, yeah, ideally we leave everything behind, all our friends, our families, all our possessions, all our belongings. Yeah, that would be the most ideal renunciation, even though easier said than done. And for the last part, there's mentioned about the stickiness. I think that would be quite an illustrative description of attachment. So we are sticking to something, and then eventually we have to separate, and then it will hurt when we separate something so sticky. How about any of you? Any comments? Okay, Sister Billy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just sort of, I think this is really hard because sometimes just by imagining separation or by death, just by imagination, or the body very sick, just by imagination, already feel very painful. You know, already the rehearsal, already feel the emotion. Yeah. So I remember during the contemplation of death with Venerable Allison, that retreat, someone actually raised the point that he said when he contemplated on the death of himself, he didn't feel so pain, but he felt the attachment when he contemplated on the death, on the passing away of others, which I share very much actually on that question. So there is a lot of, I'm aware of that for myself, so I need to work a lot on that. Yeah, I think it's not easy. Attached to a lot of things, people, materials, yeah, pleasure in life, a lot. So I have to work a lot on that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sister Billy. Yeah, that's very true. I think especially those who are already couples for many years, that would be much harder to separate. So I'm quite happy in my position right now. I'm single. I can do whatever I want. Even though as a single person, I still have a lot of attachment, to pleasures, to food, and even to some people around me. But I think it's especially troubled for those who have a couple. Sister Shomei, would you like to say something?
I think we don't even have to go too far into those more lingering and more sticky relationship. A simple example, at least for me, could be that, for instance, I practice very well with this group in the morning, right? Then I go away for a long holiday. Then it is as if something is lost and something is missing, and that becomes it creates discomfort. I can't meditate properly. I can't practice properly while I'm away from this group. And these are the day-to-day attachments that we form.
That's a very good point. Even among Dharma friends, they can grow attachment as well. Sometimes if you join a volunteer group, you will notice this, you will observe this attachment. When the people attach to that group, when the people attach to that group of people, that's also can be what Venerable Thubten Chodron mentioned as sticky. Okay, how about Sakya?
I like the part where she says Westerners are more, the attachment growth is in terms of emotion, whereas for some of the Asians, I would say it's like she helping others. It reminds me of the kampong spirit that we have as neighbors previously, and my grandparents, they don't say I love you, they don't say this type of things, like emotion, how you feel, that kind of thing, but actually they have all the emotions. It's just that they show it through their actions. Yeah, like my grandmother will bake cakes during festival seasons, share with your neighbors and that kind of thing, and we build the relationship, and there is this attachment. But this attachment is like, I would say, more wholesome, like in terms of helping and giving, each other, that kind of thing. And then I reflect myself also, what kind of attachment I have, like what Sister Vivi says, so many things, right? So friends like Dharma, we get attachment, and then friends who travel with us when we go tour, we enjoy, the scenery together, family, everywhere, everything we do, there is attachment. So that's why the point to take away from me is, what is your aim? She said very clearly, if your aim is for liberation, then you know that if you get attachment, eventually there will be pain and suffering. That's what the Buddha says. So if your aim is just to have a happier life in in this life and in the next to be continue in samsara enjoying, then probably you can just get attached more and more. Then you will come back, yeah, to samsara because you have this stickiness. So when she used a similar stickiness, it reminds me of my feet getting stuck with all this muddy place. You know, when we walk along certain beaches, sometimes there's this mud. You just, stick your feet there. So difficult to remove it. Yeah. So that's why we are here to cultivate the mind, right? Now we all have the teachings of the Buddha, the Dharma, which is telling us to, don't get attached, don't have craving, where the problem is. And at least we know where the problem is. So I think we are one step forward along the path. So to get more and more aware, not until when somebody passed away, when you lost an object, but to have that kind of like Ajahn Chah's simile. He said he used broken glass to begin with. So he sees the glass that he used, he enjoys the tea in it, but he has no attachment to the glass because in the first place, he already sees the glass as a broken glass. So probably for us, what we can do in our daily life is to cultivate such that how to get not attached. We imagine that sometimes I imagine 100 years down the road, this person will not be with me anymore. So I do whatever I can now when I am with that person wholly. That means my attention is to my mom, to this person or to my friend. And at the moment, I just enjoy, but I don't get attached. With the mindset behind is this will go away. So when there's rising, there's ceasing. I think that is how we should cultivate. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks for the comments, I guess.
For me, detachment is like people you don't like, and then attachment is like people you like, That's my explanation.
Correct. Yeah, people that you like, you get attached to. People that you don't like, you try to stay
Yeah,
far
try to
away from
detach,
them.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
like,
Actually, Sister Quack brought up a very important point, which was addressed by Ajahn Kalyano over the weekend when he gave this retreat. So long as it is something that you have some kind of you have a desire around it, it is attachment. So going back to Sister Quack's example, attachment is something that I like, and detached and being disattached or detached is something that I don't like. Is not quite true, because if I say hate someone, well, that person really don't know what kind of grudge I have with him, and I'm every day thinking about how to destroy him, how to get him out of my life. That is attachment. Yeah, so it works both ways, not just those that we like and those that we don't like. I wanted to go back to Sister Saikyang's point about, as she was talking about the example of the various examples, it makes me think of the explanation that is always given to us, especially when attached to Heart Sutra. Remember about the raft that brings us across to the other shore. And once we reach the other shore, we must be prepared to get rid of throw away to abandon the raft, and not say carry the raft on our back along with us, because we really don't need the raft anymore.
Okay, very good.
Not only the raft, the Dharma also you have to throw.
Precisely, Quack. The Dharma is the draft. We are attached to the Dharma.
But attachment to the Dharma is not our, it's the least of our problem.
Yeah, we have to use the Dharma to help us to go across to the other shore first before we can let go. So don't let go now. We still have to cultivate.
Yeah, of course, they will reach there first.
Yeah, have to reach there first, correct.
Very good. Yeah, I think I just want to comment on Sai Kiang's point on our grandparents' love. It's actually observed by my friend as well. My friend told me it's a very survival kind of love. I don't know, there's probably a Chinese term for this. Yeah, I'm not sure. But it's very different from what our generation is having. Like, I need you, you need me. This kind of very soft kind of love. And probably that's why this generation is called a strawberry generation.
Yeah. My grandfather, he saves on himself. He's very spendthrift. That means he eat very simple, he live very simply. The clothes he wear, torn already, still go and so these are the older generations. And then when they save all this money, is to send back home, to send back to China, so that the people there can survive. They base on all these small little amount every month to take care of a big family. Yeah. So when he came from China with my dad and my grandmother, so there's still this attachment back home. So he helps to bring up all those people back home. But in Singapore, we only have good food once a year, normally during Chinese New Year. Then we get to eat other like bak kwa and things like that, cakes and all that, drinks. Rest of the day is just plain porridge with, you just go with some preserved olive, the kana, the yam chai, the chai ball and all that. Yeah, they live very simply, but their heart is there. They
They have
want
no
to
love
help.
conscious. They have no love conscious. They
No,
only
they
think of daily life, how to survive.
no, they think of the people back home. Yeah, so that is their attachment. But they sacrifice a lot, like I would say, the elderly. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's a much deeper kind of love compared to what this generation is having. Yeah. Okay, very lovely discussion. Thanks everyone for participating. Anyone else would like to add? The Choi Kwang, Sister Akim? All good? Okay. And with that, let's Brother Haji like to do the dedication.
回向愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿具藏即孝行，世世常行菩萨道。
谢谢 Brother Haji. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a non-attachment Tuesday ahead. Don't stick to samsara.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone, and see you guys next time.